So Donkey Kong Bonanza is the latest big Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive game that is recently released to critical acclaim with no mixed or negative reviews and a lot of 9s and 10s across the board. The most notable being from IGN, who went on to say that what defines a 10 out of 10 game for them doesn't necessarily mean that it's an absolute perfect game with no flaws, but that it's just a masterpiece of a video game. So, as you can see on my Nintendo Switch 2 console right here, I've put at least 10 hours into Donkey Kong Bonanza at the time of recording this video. So I'm gonna tell you everything about my gameplay experience and let you decide for yourself what type of game you think this is, even though maybe you have or haven't played it, if you think it's worthy of being called a 9 or 10 video game. And then of course at the end, I'll let you know what I personally think, if I think it's a 10 out of 10 type of video game. So the first thing I want to address about Donkey Kong Bonanza is the elephant in the room, and that is the performance issues with this game. I have heard a lot of people talk about it, and I did notice a little bit myself. I did notice that when you zoom in and out of the map, the frame rate can definitely slow down a bit here and there. Overall, I don't really think that matters. It doesn't really affect the gameplay experience, and I do feel like I saw it kind of maybe slow down a bit in parts where there were a lot of explosions and stuff going on. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but I did have a part early on in the game where the screen just kind of like clipped out for a minute. Like it just kind of like went white and then it just went right back to normal. It was like in a flash. It wasn't anything that was, really disruptive to the overall experience, but it was a technical issue that I did notice while playing Donkey Kong Bonanza. So from a technical standpoint, if you judge games based on if they're absolutely perfectly polished, like by the performance, the frame rate, and everything just being completely stable the entire time, Donkey Kong Bonanza is not that game. But what I can say about Donkey Kong Bonanza is that when it really matters, during the action, during the platforming, the gameplay, the controls, everything about it just feels really smooth, really responsive. You feel like you're in total control. It feels really good. It doesn't feel like this game is really hindered by performance issues at all, but they are there, so it's not a technically perfect game from that perspective. Now, as far as the story goes for Donkey Kong Bonanza during my around 10-hour playthrough, honestly, there hasn't really been much to the story other than Donkey Kong teaming up with Pauline, and of course the Void Code, the antagonists being introduced, the villains being introduced in this game, and you trying to get to the planet core because Pauline wants to go home, and basically Donkey Kong's just on the ride because he's just going wherever the bananas are. If there's Banandium gems there, bananas there, he's there. He doesn't really care about all that, but seems like him and Pauline are also forming a friendship, and he's glad to help her along the way as well. But judging this game on the story, I don't think would really be the most fair thing to do anyway, because as far as platformers go, I can't really recall any platformer that had like a brilliant story to it. And some of the greatest platformers of all time, like Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros. 3, Donkey Kong Country 2, those games aren't known for their stories. Even some of the greatest 3D platformers like Mario Odyssey. So a platformer doesn't have to be a big story-focused game, so I don't think you can take anything away from the overall score for Donkey Kong Bonanza about the story. It's just pretty basic. I guess I'll see once I get to the end of the game if it has like a really cool ending or anything like that. I think that would be nice to get. But as far as the story, it's just your basic standard Donkey Kong game. Now, as far as how the game kind of just feels, it doesn't feel like your typical old school Donkey Kong game like the Donkey Kong Country games or even Donkey Kong 64. This game does feel, I would say, a bit more weird. It just feels like ridiculously wacky, but in the best way possible, I have to say, like in a really good way. Even the look of DK, how he looks just so animated and ridiculous now. When I first saw the design revealed, I didn't hate it, but I did think that it just looked kind of weird and kind of worse than the original design. But I think when you fully see it in motion, especially if you play through this game, you kind of get used to it. And honestly, I actually kind of prefer it now. I think it's cool to get a more expressive Donkey Kong now. And I think it just shows more of his personality. Instead of him just being a big brute gorilla now, he actually can be a soft teddy bear too. He actually has a little more dimensions. His personality is a little more fleshed out now. So I think that is a really good thing about this game, Donkey Kong Bananza. The overall quality of Donkey Kong Bananza definitely does feel very high. The visuals look great. The art styles and the colors look great. The voice acting that's there is really good. Even though Pauline is the only character that really talks, all the other animal-like creatures just kind of speak gibberish. I guess it does kind of make sense. I mean, it would have been cool if it was fully voice acted, but they could get away with it since Pauline is the only human in the game. But the music in this game is great. It has a lot of callbacks to the classic Donkey Kong games when you play some of those more nostalgic stages in the game, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But overall, the loop of the gameplay, that's what really matters, right? The gameplay, what you're doing, how it feels. Is it engaging? Does it feel like it's grindy? So basically, yeah, you've seen all the trailers, you've seen the footage. If you haven't played the game for yourself, you're destroying the entire environment around you in this game. You can literally punch through the ground, punch tunnels through there in any direction you want to go. Most of the environment in this game is completely destructible, and you may think it just sounds kind of mindless, dumb, and boring, but if it clicks with you, if you enjoy the mechanics, how it feels, it can get really addictive, because tied to this destruction mechanic is the collectathon that this game, Donkey Kong Bananza, is, because what you're basically going to be finding is gold, of course, which you'll definitely need in this game. You're going to be finding fossils, which you're going to need, and there are three kind of fossils. There's the normal, there's the rare, and then there's, like, I think it's called the very rare fossil. And all these fossils are very useful because you're going to be using them to buy new gear, new costume, clothing that you can use in the game. And the clothing isn't just for pure aesthetics and looks. The clothing actually has stat bonuses, which can give you things like, you know, stronger punching power, chances to find more treasure chests, extended Bananza time. So it's really useful, and it makes you really want to collect everything, like the Banandium gems. The Banandium gems in this game are basically like the power moons in Super Mario Odyssey, which everybody knows this game is made by the same team from Super Mario Odyssey. And they're more useful in this game because instead of just finding them for the sake of finding them and trying to be more of a completionist or just having more fun doing the platforming, you're actually going to be putting those Banandium gems to use in this game, because I think it's after every 4 that you find, you get a point towards your skill tree, and on your skill tree you have all kind of stats to increase there as well, all kind of abilities you can gain. So it makes the collectible and collectathon aspect of this game really have like more purpose than any kind of collectathon platformer that I have ever played. And the controls just feel so smooth, just so fluid, just so good. The combat, the destruction feels really good. I will say that overall, during my time with this game though, the overall difficulty has been pretty easy. And I wouldn't say that's a bad thing though, because I mean, it doesn't need to be hard for it to be fun. The game is really engaging. It's a lot of fun. I definitely have fallen down quite a bit during my platforming sections of trying to get to harder areas or trying to get certain collectibles, and I have lost a few times, maybe to some boss battles, or not the main boss battles, but maybe just the enemies, maybe just falling in environmental hazards. So it's not like it's as easy as a Kirby game. I would say it's maybe even just slightly harder than like Mario Odyssey, but overall the difficulty is really easy. I have heard other people on YouTube say that it gets harder toward the end of the game, so I guess I'll see if that happens. But overall, I would say from a gameplay perspective, a quality perspective, the game is just really good. If the mechanics and the gameplay loop click with you, I think you're really going to get lost in Donkey Kong Bananza, and it really just becomes one of those games that is just really hard to put down. I haven't been so glued to a game like this in a really long time, honestly, I have to say. And I was playing Super Mario Odyssey with the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade right before this game came out, and I was really into it. I was really enjoying it. Once I got to the post game, I can't lie, I kind of was getting a little bit more tired of it. Even though it's still fun, I still want to go and beat the whole post game and everything. But Donkey Kong Bananza, I would say, is even way more addictive than Super Mario Odyssey. I have not been this hooked on a new game in a very, very long time. It's just so much fun. I'm just looking forward to gathering as many collectibles as I can, basically just to get all the costumes that I need with the stat boost, and then just to get all the different colors for Donkey Kong. I don't need to unlock like every single color of costume that there is for Pauline. That doesn't matter to me, but I do want to get all the different colors for Donkey Kong. Those don't seem to add any stats, but it's just cool to have them, to be able to change his colors on different levels. And of course, I do want the ones that have the stat upgrades. So I'm not looking to 100% this game, but I know that I am going to spend a good amount of hours enjoying it, because I'm not just trying to go straight through the main story either. If you do that, I think you'll be able to get through this game pretty quickly, maybe like 15, 20, 25 hours. I don't know, because I haven't beaten the game yet, but I know it does let you keep diving down to different layers, different levels pretty quickly if you want to. So I think that's another plus for Donkey Kong Bonanza, is the fact that it lets you play how you want to. If you want to go for all the collectibles and do more of the secret levels, you do have secret levels in here too, like little doors that you get to unlock by singing, and there's different challenges in them. Some of them might be a platforming challenge, some of them there might be a timer and you have to beat enemies within a certain time limit. Some of them might be 2D level callbacks to the Donkey Kong Country games, and it still kind of feels like the 3D mechanics are in there, but it's really cool to get some of that 2D platforming and hear the nostalgic music on those levels. I would say that this game definitely is a love letter to the Donkey Kong series, and it definitely does pay a lot of respect to the series history and to fans of the series. It is a phenomenal game, I have to say. I would have to say, for me personally, I don't really feel like any game in particular is really just like a 10 out of 10 game, because I don't really feel like anything is perfect if we're going to judge it that way. But I guess if we're going to judge it just based on a gameplay experience overall, like just picking up and having fun with it, I would say Donkey Kong Bonanza might end up being a 10 out of 10 game for me if we're looking at it that way, because I don't think any game is just absolutely perfect. But from a gameplay, wow, like this game is a ton of fun. It's just a blast to play through. I'm really enjoying my time with it. And I guess I've enjoyed my time with Donkey Kong Bonanza so much that I kind of went off talking even longer than I thought I would about this game. But I'll definitely come back and talk about it at least a bit more after I finish playing the game, of course, get to the end credits and everything. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like in it. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I will catch you all on the next one.